Hi, this is your host Apni Bhartiya, and welcome to another episode of TFR Let's Talk. And today we have with us Jimmy McArthur, Senior Manager of Community and Business Development at Open Infrastructure Foundation. Jimmy, it's great to have you on the show.
Hi, Swap. Thanks for having me.
So I want to start with you since you are here. Talk about what are your new responsibility? What are you doing at the foundation these days?
Sure. Yeah. So I've taken over the community and business development for the foundation, and primarily working as kind of working with relationships with our silver, gold, and platinum members, and also new business development.
Excellent. Now let's talk about the foundation because before this pandemic, actually, it was almost a year or so. You folks changed the name from OpenStack Foundation to Open Infrastructure Foundation, or you folks also call yourself Open Infra. I want to know a bit about what's the reason behind this name change and what does the Open Infra stand for today?
Sure. Yeah. So the reason the name changed is we saw some need for broadening our horizons within our community. Our de facto open source platform for cloud computing is OpenStack, obviously. But as we saw things expand and the need for open infrastructure kind of grew around OpenStack, and the needs of our users changed, we wanted to make sure that we had a hand in helping bring projects that fell under open infrastructure into production, and in an open source way, in a way that that we do things at formerly the OpenStack Foundation.
Yeah, I do remember the time where they were like at back end, you folks used to call them adjacent projects. So those projects are the ones that not everybody is using just OpenStack. There are so many other components, so it does make a sense to not only become exclusive, but it also reflects in a name that is beyond just OpenStack. And there are so many projects out there. So if I ask you if you can, first of all, there are so many projects, so I don't want to get into every project there, but if you can name some of the core projects that you do see are playing a big role in this whole community or ecosystem of open infrastructure or around OpenStack.
Sure. Kata Containers was brought to us because open source projects want to follow the OpenStack way of developing in the open. That's Kata Containers is the speed of containers with the security of VMs. So that's played heavily into part of the area in open infrastructure that we're expanding to. And then we think of open infrastructure as everything from the machines that sit at the data center to the edge now, which is a long way from where things were 11 years ago when we launched the OpenStack project. So at the edge, we've got Starling X and Airship that also work to send what we're calling Loki, which is Linux, OpenStack, Kubernetes on infrastructure. And so I think those are at least three of our projects that I think are worth noting and really spell out how that open infrastructure ecosystem works. We've also got Zool, which is our CI/CD project, and it started out as an OpenStack as part of a tooling for OpenStack, and then we realized that it sort of worked as a standalone project. And then we have Open Infra Labs, which is it's basically a couple of things, but first it operates on the operate first principle, which says that operators in and of themselves are part of the core strength of the project, and also it's a test bed for researchers and universities.
If I ask you if you can quickly talk about in the last 1 or 2 years, what have you seen in that space in terms of adoption of Open Infrastructure Foundation technologies?
Yeah, I would tell you OpenStack is alive. We've seen 25% growth in our foundation. You mentioned Microsoft. We also have a new gold member, NEPA, which is a Thai public cloud. And speaking of growth, we have a massive growing public cloud footprint. You look at data sovereignty rules around the world in Europe, Southeast Asia, and China. And those data sovereignty rules call for a different type of solution. And that solution is OpenStack. It's the kind of the de facto standard. If you want to store your data privately and manage your data privately and securely, open source is the way to go, and it's what people are adopting. We've seen 175 data centers with 80 public clouds around the world, and that's just the ones we know about. So it's definitely rapidly expanding. We've got 25 million cores in production. That's a 66% increase year over year. So last year we had 10 million cores. It's exploding.
Now let's talk about some new members. Of course, you have a new platinum member, Microsoft. What is Microsoft doing at Open Infrastructure Foundation?
Sure. I think, we talked about why we became the Open Infrastructure Foundation, and that's, because we broadened our scope a bit beyond OpenStack. And I think as a result of that, organizations like Microsoft and even AWS have taken an interest in what we're doing. Microsoft is working very closely with us. In fact, they're giving a talk at our upcoming event on November 17th and 18th, specifically around the 4 opens. So, Microsoft is interested in the Open Infrastructure Foundation because of the way we do open source.
I still miss those, OpenStack days, or events, in-person events. You folks know how to party well. You also know how to set up a good, show as well. And I want to go back to those events. So, what's in the pipeline? What are you planning next in the post-pandemic world?
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, assuming everything goes well, in June next year, we'll be in Berlin. It'll be our first in-person event in over 2 years, and we're definitely excited to get our community back together and really start to work on that, the open community and the open development aspects of what makes the Open Infrastructure Foundation tick.
Jimmy, thank you so much for taking time out today and not only talk about the foundation, the evolution of the foundation, the community, the ecosystem, your new role, and also that we should, look forward to going back to the new norm, whatever it is. And I look forward to, of course, attending the event in Berlin, but I also hope to see you before that. So thanks for your time today, and I look forward to our next conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Swap. I appreciate it. And don't forget to catch us on Open Infra Live, November 17th and 18th.